Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to a happy new year. Welcome to 2025. We're now fully in the new year. And this week we're looking at the energies that are playing out, particularly on January the 11th. Now, that's Australian time, but on January the 11th, 2025, all the way through to actually July 26th, 2026, we are going to be with the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. The nodes are changing signs this week, my friends, on the 11th of January. And they're going to be moving to the anaretic degree of Pisces-Virgo. So here is the Pisces-Virgo axis. And there go the nodes, South Node up here, North Node down here, into new signs. Now, they've been in Libra, Aries for 18 months. And of course, we've seen so much warmongering. We've seen a lot of people trying new entrepreneurial ideas. We've seen so much in the world at large about Libra, loss of Libra kind of energy, and gain of Aries kind of energy, good, bad, shadow and light in both. So we're going to be exploring now what this change means for us all. Before I get to that, I will point out that the timestamps are in the description below. I do not have the comments on to protect my mental health. And so you can go to your sign a little later on as we get to the all signs breakdown by using the timestamps in the description. And also, my friends, I want to promote this work, this amazing work by Fiona Ingram, one of my students from the Royal Stars Academy, who has done this incredibly beautiful and detailed and information-rich calendar it's a 13-month calendar for the Southern Hemisphere. Now, if you're watching in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, South America, this calendar is for you. It is amazing what she's written. She's got all the phases of the moon and all the eclipses and the ingress of planets into different signs. She's got wonderful details and symbols showing the nature of the different zodiac months. It is a fabulous calendar designed for the Southern Hemisphere. So for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere who feel we always miss out on that information, this is what you want to get your hands on. And it's not too late, even though we're in 2025 already, it's not too late to get your hands on one. All you need to do is go to Sun Moon Calendar. Hang on, let me find the exact address. sunandmooncalendar.com. So I'll get it right for Fiona. So thank you, Fiona, for this beautiful, beautiful calendar gift that I received. If you want your copy, I highly recommend it. Check out sunandmooncalendar.com. All right. Keep in mind, my friends, as I do this reading, that this is a read for personal passing energies, not the big collective experience so much that we're all living through right now. Although I will make reference in this video to some mundane astrology indicators as we go along. Mostly what I'll be speaking about today will be more about how this energy will affect you, what you will feel, what you might encounter during this significant time, this 18-month period that the nodes are in Pisces-Virgo. Remember, you might be going through significant personal effects in your natal chart that's exclusive to you that might change the dynamic of what I'm describing here. Don't forget that. Getting a reading with an astrologer can really help for personal interpretations of how the energies will be impacting you on a personal level. So I highly recommend that. You can also go to the link in the description if you want to order a reading with me. So the nodes are changing signs. That's our energy focus for this week. Not Sun and Moon. South Node and North Node sit always opposite one another. I've just done a massive big chapter on the effect of the nodes in the natal chart by transits, in houses, in signs, in my level 3 of the Royal Stars Academy. So if you're interested and you want to learn astrology, sit tight. The Royal Stars Academy level 3 is coming out very soon. Okay, this day, the 11th of January, is a huge day astrologically. Pisces and Virgo, it is your turn to experience an 18-month profound life-changing influence. It's a shifting of energy, not only because of the changing of the signs, but because of the changing of the modality from cardinal energy, Libra, Aries, to mutable energy, Pisces, Virgo. And this is going to move us out of the energy that we've been in for the last 18 months, an energy of initiation and new beginnings, into the energy of transformation, flexibility, and adaptability. And given the massive upheavals that have been, or the massive upheavals rather that are waiting for us in the other changes that are occurring in 2025, this adaptability and flexibility is a gift to humanity, to be able to go with the flow, to change, to evolve, to not be stuck. Very, very helpful for all the other shifts of energy that will be coming in the new year. So mutable energy, it encourages us to be open-minded, non-judgmental, and embracing of change. But the thing that I love most about mutable energy is that it's focused on improving things, making things better. We initiate new things with cardinal energy, but we make things better and take them to another level with mutable energy. So it's time to improve your personal life, your community, your country, and your world. Thank God. You know, it's a time for asking, as these nodes change signs, time for asking, what did I initiate over the last 18 months in my life? What started afresh? I got married. That was something that started afresh for me. And I started a part-time side hustle to support my family. There's some things that were initiated. Now, as the nodes change signs, we might be taking those new initiations to the next level, making them better, improving upon them, helping them to flourish more. What about you? What was new over the last 18 months in your life, and what are you taking to the next level in the next 18 months? Now, if you have the North Node natally in Pisces and the South Node natally in Virgo in your birth chart, the next 18 months will bring you your nodal return. And this usually happens when we're around 18, 36, 54, or 72 years old. That's the ages that we experience this transit. Now, I'm not going to cover nodal return for Pisces Virgo axis here in this video, but if you do want an in-depth look at what this means for you, you might enjoy my midlife astrology webinar, which is currently on sale for $35 off the usual price. So my gift to you, my friends. And I discuss this transit and its effects quite in depth in that video. So if you want to know more about nodal returns, that's the place you can go. Now the North Node. The North Node is where we are hungry for more. We're insatiable, and it's about our destiny, what we're moving into collectively, in this case in Pisces, but also personally in whatever Pisces rules in your chart. Here we are, down here, Pisces North Node. As you can see, the North Node is also gearing up to make conjunctions with Neptune and Saturn over this 18-month period. Every year, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus will make conjunctions, and the Moon every month with the North Node. So that's not quite as unusual, but to have a conjunction with Neptune and Saturn by a node, particularly the North Node, only happens once every 18-ish years. So it's rare and powerful. The South Node is all about releasing and letting go, breathing out. Also, this is a karmic axis. It's the karmic past, South Node. It represents the karmic skills we developed in a past life, in your natal chart, but the skills that we are now here to evolve from into something new, North Node, destiny. So it's a very karmic axis. It's about letting go of old patterns and moving into new beginnings, North Node. Now, let's take a look at the effect of the South Node moving into Virgo. Keep in mind, my friends, that according to some astrologers, it is considered that the North Node in Vedic astrology, when it is in Virgo, the South Node when it is in Virgo is exalted. So the South Node gives releasing and letting go, but for beneficial purposes and for the greater good when it is in Virgo, according to some astrologers in the Vedic system. Over the next 18 months in society, we can expect to see troubles with work, everyday ordinary work that pays the bills, the employment, being an employee. There can be troublesome effects with that. There can be trouble gaining employment because South Node in Virgo is an energy of loss and letting go. And it's in Virgo, the sign of the employee, the sign of the worker. Now, I've been seeing this in Australia already. My beloved husband, David, has been trying for quite some time now to get employment, and he's going for jobs that he's absolutely qualified for with up to 500 other applicants for jobs. And this is a result of what they did to Australia during COVID by ruining our economy with lockdowns. So this is very sad to see, but the nodes are playing out as the energy ordains. This is part of what the nodes represent. So I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings here, but I do have some good tidings when we get to the North Node energy. The South Node energy in Virgo is all about things looking and feeling a little more out of control because Virgo likes to control things, and so we're losing a sense of control with this transit. There can be difficulty for some people obtaining practical help and service. Virgo is a sign of service. Virgo is a sign of, getting somebody to mow your lawn or getting someone to fix the plumbing or something. Service industries. It's going to be harder to find people to do those sorts of things during the South Node's transit of Virgo. Might even be perhaps difficult for us to afford to get someone to do those mundane, ordinary things that we need, service things that we need help with each day. Once again, we might see, as was the case with the Libra Aries axis, we might see people leaving places of social connection and moving. I'll go back. When the South Node was in Libra, people sort of moved away from places of social connection and moved to sort of more pioneering endeavors. Well, with the South Node in Virgo and the North Node in Pisces, people might be leaving places that have more jobs or usually more work opportunities, maybe because all the opportunities are taken, perhaps, and places where there's services. People might be leaving places where there are services and facilities, Virgo energy, and moving instead to more isolated and lonely places to live, more remote places, more private places to live instead. So that might begin to happen as well. But it's not all doom and gloom, my friends. In good news, our worry and anxiety may significantly decrease now. And the inner critic that we experience, or external criticism coming at us, might actually bugger off, which would be fantastic. Thank God. Because Virgo, unfortunately, is connected to worry and anxiety. And so with the South Node here, we lose some of the energy of worry and anxiety. This could be quite good. Now with the South Node in Virgo, personally, we might notice that we are releasing what no longer serves us in a work context, releasing workaholism, releasing jobs that have seen their use-by date, releasing the dependence that we have on trusting our logic alone. That's a healthy thing, more going towards trusting our gut. I'll talk about that in a minute. We might be releasing the hard slog for little pay. It's the humble worker is Virgo energy, and we might be letting go of that. We might be releasing focus on the use of our mind to understand the world, and instead going towards a more spiritual understanding of the world, or a more all-encompassing understanding of the world. Other things that we might notice personally is that we are purifying both our health and our work, because the South Node's a purifying influence, being a spiritual influence actually. Now, if work has felt empty and hollow in your life, if your health routines have felt like a waste of time and useless and not serving the purpose that you do them for, then this might be a calling or a hallmark time for you to release those health routines that aren't working for you anymore, or to release those jobs that have lost a sense of meaning and purpose. I will also mention when the South Node moves through this realm of the chart, the Virgo area, blood sugar problems can arise for some people. There might be more hypochondria in the world, people just feeling sick or that sort of thing. You know, Virgo is a sign of hypochondria. And also internal parasites, which is very, very interesting. With that in mind, it would not hurt us to perhaps put in the medicine cabinet a bit of ivermectin, because internal parasites can be rectified by that, which is very interesting considering that ivermectin was the medicine that had the power to stop a certain virus. Was it a virus or was it a parasite? Anyway, that's beside the point, but parasites are connected with Virgo, and so internal parasites in your digestive system and so forth, if you have ways to remedy that, it might be a good time to get stock up on those things now. Now, the North Node in Pisces, my friends, down here in Pisces, what is that going to mean for the collective? What is it going to mean for you personally? Well, in the world at large, we are going to get more of North Node energy in Pisces, which is people following their heart. People, you know, no longer happy with, you know, the mundane, the ordinary, but instead following their spiritual yearnings, following their dreams, following their heart's desires. Following their spiritual calling now. And this can happen in a negative way. Instead of attending to practical matters like putting a roof over your head and what have you, we're like, no, I'm going to go to an ashram, or I'm going to go, you know, meditate on a mountaintop in Tibet. You know, we follow our spiritual yearnings, whatever they look like, instead of getting too bogged down in practical matters. There might be, and not might be, I believe, and I'm seeing it already in Australia, we're seeing a growth in fields of psychology and need for psychologists, for more relaxation and escapist industries and services, anything involved with sexual pleasure. So if you happen to be one of those party plan people, you think now sexy lingerie parties, bed linen parties, sex toy parties, that's where the energy's going for the next 18 months. Get on it, my friends. If you work with anything to do with oceans, plastics, holidays, resorts, faraway places, film, photography, fantasy industries, this is also going to be a time of growth and gainfulness for you as the North Node moves through Pisces. So get on the Pisces bandwagon, my friends. That's where it's at for the next 18 months. Now, in the negative, because the North Node can bring in more of the negative side of Pisces, we may notice alcoholism and drug taking is on the rise in society at large. Some say Pisces rules displaced people and refugees. My resources say differently to that, but I do want to cover all bases, and I just put it out there. If indeed Pisces does rule displaced people and refugees, there could be a rise in those themes that we're seeing in our communities. Do be careful of mass deceptions. This is very important to underline this fact. Mass deceptions at large and attempts to pull the wool over people's eyes with false narratives. Please be careful of that. Pisces is an energy of deception. We have been in the age of Pisces for 2,000 years. What does that tell you about a lot of the narratives we've been told, a lot of the religious push we've had upon us, a lot of the history that has been written? Is it real? Pisces is the sign of deception. So do be careful about what you choose to believe over the next 18 months. And I would stop watching the news altogether for 18 months and see how you feel after 18 months, whether you're more sane, whether you're more balanced and harmonious. See if that helps, because let me go on my little bandwagon just momentarily. That mechanism that I just mentioned is one of the main sources of deception. So perhaps give yourself a little break from anything that can cause you to be deceived. Now, if you aren't seeking to go with the flow, if that's not your style, usually, if you're just always following your logic, not flowing with life, not following your heart, not taking the time out to relax and connect with nature and spirit, if you're not doing that, then your life may be disrupted over the next 18 months from something outside of yourself to force you to do so. Some circumstance arises that causes you to have to follow what you really love, that causes you to take time out, that causes you to, leave the logic behind and learn to trust. Now, this is not a good thing if you're forced to do it. It's better to use up, for example, your annual holiday leave at work and go on a holiday and enjoy yourself rather than keep that workaholism going. Virgo South Node energy, keep that workaholism going and having stress burnout when then you're forced to take annual leave for medical reasons. See what I'm saying here? Better to have time out, better to follow your heart, better to just go with where your spirit is leading you than to be forced to go there through some difficulty, some medical problem, some work burnout, or whatever it happens to be. So that would be my advice for the next 18 months with the North Node in Pisces. Now, with the North Node in Pisces, we also might notice on a personal level that we are saying goodbye to some old boundaries and limitations that have been present in our life. Perhaps we might be growing more refined, because Pisces is, and it's in its best expression, is a very refined, artistic, gracious sign. And we might be growing more refined in our artistic taste, in the things that we choose to do for pleasure. Remember, Venus is exalted in Pisces. It's a place of refined pleasure. And we might be also developing new musical appreciation. We might get into a musical genre that we never even considered as something we would like before. There is an emphasis now on our psychological health and well-being as opposed to Virgo, which is our physical health and well-being. So Pisces emphasizes the psychological, the deep sort of hidden side of ourselves, that 90% of the iceberg that's underwater, part of who we are, and the well-being of our soul. So there's a big emphasis on that now. And there might be circumstances making you focus on your soul's well-being. Also, at a personal level, we might be more able to accept the help and assistance of other people without pride getting in the way. Pisces, it's not, some say it's a needy sign. It's a sign, of people who just let other people handle all the details, And so, if Virgo is the sign of service and help and fixing things, Pisces is the opposite. It's about letting other people do that. So we have more capacity for other people to serve us without being too hung up on pride and so forth. We're also cultivating the ability to do nothing useful and to just be. What a lovely energy that is. What do you do when you're lying on the beach in Waikiki, taking in the sun, you're on holidays? You're doing nothing useful. You are just being you in a pleasurable environment. So Pisces, such lovely energy. And we are cultivating the capacity personally to do that more. We're also becoming more inclusive. Where Virgo can be very critical, Pisces is more about oneness. We're all one. We're all in this together. Well, that's what it is, the energy. We are inclusive. There is no one hierarchically above someone else based on class, race, money, status, doesn't matter. We're inclusive, and I love this energy of Pisces. So you might find yourself being more that way yourself. It's actually quite interestingly a time when we might be strengthening our immune systems. Pisces rules the immune system, so there might be an empowerment of our immune systems now, which we all could do with, I think. And we're also getting more of what Pisces stands for: rest, relaxation, and sexual pleasures. Hello, bring it on. Now let me tell you a little bit about the last time that the nodes were in Pisces. And this is tremendously telling, so I encourage you not to skip over this. These are signatures that I had my jaw on the floor researching a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to talk about the last time the nodes were in Pisces. This was in 2006 to 2007. And in the beginning of the transit of the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, there were 5 air disasters within the first sort of 1 to 2 months of this 18-month cycle. 5 air disasters. Now, when I wrote, as I'm recording this today, I just seen news reports of the Jeju Air South Korean Airlines disaster. And there have also been other airlines disasters on a more minor scale this week as well, just as the nodes are about to move into Pisces-Virgo. Couldn't believe it. You can't make this stuff up. Now, just exactly why air disasters were present last time the nodes were in Pisces-Virgo and this time we're seeing it again, I can't tell you, because air flight is ruled by Uranus and Aquarius. So it's more than I can say as to why, but that's a repeating theme. There were also 2 significant rail disasters in the beginning of the last transit of Pisces-Virgo by the nodes. Let me tell you about some other things. Martial law was implemented in Bangkok. Interestingly enough, this has happened just before the nodes have moved into Pisces-Virgo, but we've just had martial law averted in South Korea. There's South Korea again coming up twice. Very, very interesting, isn't it? What else happened? The International Astronomy Union demoted Pluto. That happened last time. And remember, Pisces is all about deception. So, question mark. Was that an act of mass deception by demoting Pluto? The film Borat was released. Well, that is actually a brilliant example of Pisces North Node energy. And this is what we mostly see with the nodes changing signs. We mostly see more of where the North Node is and less of where the South Node is. So the film Borat was released, and it was all about deceiving people, going around pretending to be this personality, this person or whatever, and people falling for it, being deceived. It's a film of deception. Very Pisces North Node energy. On that topic, Al Gore won the Academy Award for Best Documentary. Again, dare I say it, a deceptive film. WikiLeaks was launched. And what did they do? They exposed deception. They exposed underhanded behavior, things happening behind the scenes. Pisces rules things that go on behind the scenes. To explain why that is, Pisces is associated with the 12th house, which sits behind the ascendant. If your ascendant is Aries, here, that's your rising sign. What's behind you? Pisces. It's the things behind you that you can't see that are going on behind the scenes. Well, WikiLeaks was launched last time the nodes were in Pisces, exposing what's been going on behind the scenes, the deception. Again, Nintendo Wii was released, and God, did my children love it. They were completely addicted. Pisces energy, addiction. The iPhone was released at this time, another addictive device. Very interesting. I do believe at that time, from memory, this is from memory, that Uranus was there as well. So that may have had to do with the flight issues. I don't know why they're happening again now, but that may have, the nodes with Uranus might have caused the flight disasters, might have caused was part of the Nintendo Wii release and the iPhone release. So with that concept in mind, it's going to be very interesting to see what the nodes combined with Saturn and combined with Neptune bring about. And I'll talk about that when the nodes conjunct Neptune. I won't go into that here. But keep that in mind. If you're into your astrology, we might be seeing more of North Node Neptune Pisces type things. Amy Winehouse. I love Amy Winehouse. God, she could sing. She released her album Back to Black. And we know, if you've seen the documentary about Amy, we know that she was a victim of deception. She was also a victim of drugs and alcohol abuse. through other things that were in her chart. But interesting that she had a very important phase of her life when the North Node moved through Pisces. There was the discovery of the world's tallest living tree during this transit. I'm not sure if that's General Sherman in the Sequoia Forest in California. It may be, because they are the world's tallest trees, so I'm assuming that's the one. But anyhow, the research I did just said discovery of the world's tallest living tree, and that's all the information it gave me. Marina Popovich was awarded Hero of Her Nation. The Harry Potter series is concluded at this time. Last time the nodes were in Pisces-Virgo. What's Harry Potter all about? Pisces themes, fantasy, magic, totally. So that was interesting. Hezbollah experienced a number of victories in the Middle East last time the nodes were in Pisces-Virgo. South Africa legalized same-sex marriage last time the nodes were here. Again, Pisces energy of unity, acceptance, oneness. There is no difference between me and you. Overthrow of the Fijian government occurred last time the nodes were in Pisces-Virgo, and I thought that was interesting from the standpoint that Pisces rules islands and island nations, so in a general sense. So there was an emphasis on an island nation politically in that way. Saddam Hussein was sentenced to death during this last transit of the nodes in Pisces-Virgo. Again, this is a theme to my mind of a lot going on in underhanded ways behind the scenes, and a narrative that wasn't really what the public thought it was. Again, Pisces energy. The king of Bhutan abdicated. The Chinese river dolphin was declared extinct, very sadly. But what does Pisces rule? Dolphins. The Farm Aid concert was held. Now, Pisces rules both charity and music. So again, we had charity and music coming together with Farm Aid. Some people do say that Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, has an association with farming in some rulerships teachings that I've come across. So we could even have an influence on the farming side of things there, mostly because farming is a very isolated practice, isolated industry. A lot of farmers, especially in Australia, live very remotely, very Neptunian kind of energy in that regard. There was a new constitution implemented in Serbia last time the nodes were here. Bulgaria and Romania joined the EU during this transit. Thank God they haven't given up their currencies, and hopefully they never do. That would be disastrous to join the euro and lose autonomy over your own nation's currency. It's been the cause of many financial collapses of countries because they joined the EU. So hopefully Bulgaria and Romania don't do that. But yes, they joined the EU. They haven't given up their currencies, thank God. USA reached 3 million people in population during this last transit. Nancy Pelosi was appointed by friends. Deception and behind the scenes deals yet again. I am not politically motivated one way or the other, can I just say? But I don't, how shall I word this? Let's just say a lot of people in political places are there as puppets. Moving on. Christopher Hitchens published God is Not Great, the case against organized religion. Very interesting, because Pisces is about spirituality and faith, not religion. That's Sagittarius. So very interesting that very important book was published at that time. Now, something that absolutely broke my heart when it happened last time the nodes were in Pisces-Virgo was the disappearance of Madeleine McCann in Portugal. I have a son who is the same age as Madeleine was, and my mother's heart just broke with what was going on there. But that situation turns out, if you read what happened subsequently to her disappearance, to that family, and a lot of details about the case, there's something incredibly dodgy about that particular incident. Again, I think we're looking at deception and things going on behind the scenes. Nothing was as it seemed. Nothing in the media, I think, really told the truth of what was going on in that situation. But it was heartbreaking. Poor little Madeline. I wonder if she's still alive. I wonder where she is now. Footage was captured last time the nodes were in Pisces in 2006, 2007 of a rare frilled shark. And later in the cycle of the nodes moving through this axis, they also captured film of a giant squid. Pisces rules oceans and ocean creatures, and Pisces also rules film. This was amazing. And to conclude my little section on what happened and how it related to the Pisces-Virgo axis, New Horizons probe flew by Jupiter and gathered some really amazing, beautiful pictures of our wonderful, massive planet in the sky, in the heavens. Jupiter, as we know, is the traditional ruler of Pisces. So absolutely perfect timing that it should fly by Jupiter at the time the nodes were transiting through Pisces-Virgo axis, particularly the North Node in Jupiter. So now we come to the time of this video that I know you all love. We're going to be looking at the effects of the nodes changing signs in the all signs breakdown. So of course, we're actually going to start with Pisces. Sorry, I'll get my words out, because Pisces becomes the first house in this cycle. So here we are, North Node moving into Pisces. If you have your rising, your sun, your moon here, you're going to get more North Node and less South Node. What does that mean? Oh, I forgot to mention. Sorry, forgive me, my friends. But I should also talk about the fact that the nodes are going to move to the anaretic degree. I'm sorry, I don't know why I missed that. The nodes are going to be at 29 degrees of Pisces. This is a Gandanta degree. We talked last week in last week's video about Gandanta being the releasing of karma in order to up level to a new state. And that is very, very applicable now, Gandanta degrees. But having said that, the nodes have been at a Gandanta degree for, a couple of months now, actually. So this is not new energy. We're already doing the Gandanta work. So I'm not going to talk about that extensively here. If you want to know about Gandanta, check out my last week's introduction to the video, and it will talk all about it. But we are at the anaretic degree, which is 29 degrees. This is the fate degree, the fated degree. And so fated things are likely to happen when the nodes change signs. That happens every time they change signs, because they're always at the fated degree when they change signs, because they move backwards in the sky, the nodes. So here we are with the North Node destiny point and the South Node karmic release at the fated degree. So fated events can be expected around this time. It is also considered that this final degree is a problematic degree. It's challenging. It can be defined as a bit of a peak. So, there'll be some fated event that will happen that will maybe push you into a new way of being, a new way of living, a new life experience, a new circumstance. But it's fated and it feels like a very significant peak point. Some of us might have some real issues with decision making while the nodes are at 29th degree. We might be evaluating and re-evaluating and, over-evaluating situations before making a move. Will I go here? Will I go there? What to do? And then we just jump into some course of action quite recklessly. That's the energy of the anaretic degree. It's not well thought out. It's impulsive in that sense. But there's a sense of urgency with the 29th degree, because usually with a planet transiting here, the planet is desperate to accomplish its mission in that sign before it leaves. But here goes the nodes into these signs. It's moving the opposite way. And instead of a sense of urgency because it has to accomplish its mission before it leaves, it's more like, I'm going to start this show with a bang. That's how it works for the North Node here. So it's not so much urgency. It's like, let's just put the fireworks out there and get this show on the road. North Node, South Node moving into Pisces. So keep those things in mind as well. Now, we're going to move to the nodes transiting the sign. And therefore, the nodes transit a sign for 18 months, and I'm using whole sign astrology here. So we're going to have the influence of the nodes in your particular house axis for a whole 18 months. So that's what we're looking at here. And during that time, we're going to notice this influence in this one particular realm of life. Loss in one house, gain in another, south node, north node. That's what's going on. So for Pisces people, we'll start with Pisces now. For Pisces people, the north node is in your first house, the south node is in the 7th house. When the north node, we'll start with the north node because in Western culture, the north node is actually quite a desirable point that we really do appreciate. When the north node is in the first house, it increases our self-confidence, our ability to start new things and initiate new things in our life. This is fantastic if you've got some entrepreneurial ideas that you want to start implementing. It's the perfect time for putting those things in place, for starting new endeavors. It's also a time when we're going to be starting a lot of new experiences in our life. We could find, especially for Pisces people, because they've had one of the most life-changing transits that we can have, Saturn moving through the first house. That's been going on as well. For many Pisces people, it's going to see some really significant new beginnings, new starts, turning over new leaves once the north node moves into Pisces. Powerful new beginnings in life. It's also a time, it's heralding an 18-month period when you're going to be more independent, have more freedom, more self-identification, more going at your own way. And that can be really good. Even in the context of relationships, that can happen. You might just be feeling more independent, doing things your way, having, the world work for you. There's also a releasing and letting go of old or unhealthy relationships that can occur, and contracts that I have seen their use by date. Where, you've been in a contractual situation with somebody and it's like, this should be done by now. I've had enough of this. I need something fresh. I need something new. So it doesn't mean that every relationship's going to end. Even I have been thinking, oh my gosh, I've just got married and here I've got the north nodes moving into this axis, north node in the first house. Am I going to lose my relationship? No. If your relationship is beautiful and warm and loving, it can last a lifetime. If your relationship is full of walking on eggshells, imbalanced dynamics, secretly you're just like, I wish I could get out of here, it may very well end. But if your relationship is great, don't fret, don't fear. Now, that is the north node in Pisces, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The energy, I should step back a second. Energy goes where the north node is. It's an increasing of energy. And so your energy in the body can be heightened. You might find that you are physically feeling more energetic, stronger, more powerful, which is great because I tell you what, I've put on weight with Saturn being in Pisces, and I'm like, good. I need that drive to get out and go jogging again and swimming and riding my bike and all that sort of stuff that I actually love doing, just haven't had time to do. So your energy levels increase. That's fantastic. You may also find that your personal vitality increases, and because of that, you are the stronger one in your relationships for the next 18 months. You are the perhaps more dominant party, more decision-making party, or just the more energetic party. It's a leadership-enhancing transit to have the north node move through the first house. And that's leadership in relationships, but in all areas. You might become a leader in your career, a leader in your field, a leader in your family, a leader financially in some way. It's a leadership enhancing transit. It's also a good time to work solo. If you don't do that already, Pisces, it might be a time when you consider doing so. You might start to work for yourself. Maybe you start an entrepreneurial endeavor. Maybe you work as a consultant or something. It's time for following your own course and charting your own course in life. Now, with the south node over here in Virgo, partners, business partners, marriage partners, can be a bit weaker. They might struggle more. And this is a shame because, let me just say, we are coming out of a period where our partner's finances might have been suffering. Prior to this transit, the south node was in Libra, And that's the house to do with the eighth house to do with our partner's resources, our partner's finances. And where the south node is where things fall away. Release, let go. So your partner might have been struggling financially with the south node here. And, that's about to end. Yay, thank God for that. So then it goes into the house of the partner, and partners can be weaker. It might look like unemployment for some partners. It might look like an illness for some partners. It might look like an absence. Maybe the partner has to go work in another country and you stay home or something. That's what it can look like. It might look like a partner for some people draining your energy, being a burden on you, or even leaving you, letting go. The whole relationship finishes. So it is considered, because of that, to be a poor time for developing business partnerships and a poor time for getting married as well. Just forewarned about that. But something, Pisces, we are so charitable and others focused. It is important now to support your partners. If you love them, if your relationship is healthy, if you're in a good, sound business partnership, what you might need to do is realize that we are paying our karma, south node is our karma, through helping others and supporting our partners at this time. And you do this well, Pisces. So see just say your partner loses his job and you've got to support them, or loses her job and you've got to support them. See it as a karmic clearing. See it as paying your karma by supporting your partner. And it makes it so much easier when you realize that's what's going on, and that it's just a cycle. It's not forever. Also, supporting other people. Pisces is charitable. Pisces is to be generous with what you have. And because other people might be suffering now, this is the house of other people, you, Pisces, can be a source of support, a gift giver. Don't leave yourself martyred and in the muck and mire yourself. Don't give away everything to someone else and then end up with nothing yourself. But do seek to support and help other people, because in doing so, you're paying back your karma and absolving any bad karma in your life. Now, moving along from that topic, be aware, Pisces, that consultants and doctors, which are often associated, advice givers are associated with the the seventh house energy. They may give incorrect advice now. South node in the seventh house. So make sure you get multiple opinions if you're seeing a consultant or a doctor. Contracts that you have might dissolve or unravel. I've already mentioned that. I just mentioned it again. All sorts of contracts, not just marriage contracts. Any other contract might come to a conclusion. This is an energy that really says any sensitive or spiritual people can enter into your life. So we're looking at south node types of people coming into our life when the south node is in the seventh house. So this could be super sensitive people, spiritual people. It could be insecure people. Might be a big prominent part of our life during this transit. Basically, other people are going to require our strength and our assistance, which is what is being enhanced by this transit. Also, just to conclude, Pisces, any unfinished business with past partners, business partners, marriage partners, all that sort of thing, any unfinished business with past partners or other people might return in your life to be wrapped up now. You may even find a past partner coming back into your life as well. So it depends on your circumstances, how that might be playing out, but that's what this energy speaks to. Thank you so much, Pisces, rising, sun or moon people. Now we're moving backwards through the horoscope. Aquarius energy, Aquarius rising, Aquarius sun, Aquarius moon people. The nodes are shifting into Pisces-Virgo, which is your second house, eighth house axis. This is a financial axis. So this is where the emphasis is, on the finances. The second house is where the north node is. And so the second house is going to increase your focus and your passion for making money on your terms, yourself, to support your journey. You making money is a focus of this. practical matters and finding exciting sources of income. This is the focus of the North Node moving through your second house. So it's bringing in material success into your life by relying on yourself, not on someone else bringing money into your life, not on you inheriting anything, not on you receiving from other people gifts and money that you didn't earn. No, this is about you bootstrapping it up, doing it yourself, earning your own means and resources. Also, this is a house of spending. And I've just had this transit of North Node through the second house. Believe me, I am very frugal because I've had to be. And I have had this transit of the North Node here for the last 18 months. I have spent more in this last 18 months than I would ever have liked to have spent for various reasons. Spending can increase as well, but also you have the money usually with this transit too. Now, this 8th house is also to do with shamanic, spirituality, the occult, psychology, and sex, and you might be getting less of that. There's a less interest in that. There's less emphasis on those things due to the South Node being in the 8th house. Also, due to the South Node in the 8th house, money and resources can be drained by your marriage partner, your business partner, debts. The stock market might drain your money. So it's 8th house things that are draining our money away. And I will vouch for that. That's exactly how it works. So be forewarned, forearmed, my friends. Manage your savings wisely with the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo in your chart. It's a time in the positive, though, where you may be able to pay off any old debts. And for many of you, your earning power might be increased and incoming money can grow beneficially. It's a good time to also refuel your vital sources as well. I mentioned how sexual interest might diminish a little bit. Some people, and it's unknown who will or won't receive this, but some people get the polarity happening where it actually increases. I think maybe this is because the second house has to do with masturbation and the 8th house has to do with intimacy, two different sexual expressions. So the sexual interest in masturbation might increase, or personal sexuality might increase rather than an interest in intimacy. Big life transformations, which are usually an 8th house thing, they can occur. But they can occur because that's just life. They happen often. But there is also likely to be some issues with inheritances. South Node in the 8th house doesn't allow you to easily inherit. There can be loss of inheritance. There can be, maybe you spend all your inheritance paying off your debts, or maybe you have to go to court to sort out an inheritance and you end up with less than you thought. These sorts of things might be issues now. That's what I am seeing for our beautiful Aquarius rising, sun or moon people. Capricorn rising, sun or moon people. The energy of the North and South Node changing signs into Pisces Virgo will be affecting North Node in your 3rd house and South Node in your 9th house. So this is an axis that's all about increasing the focus and passion on developing new technological skills, making new contacts and networks, making short trips. So there's a growth in that in your life. There can also be more success with communications and media and marketing and sales. So quite wonderful if you're trying to promote a business or a product or something, you're doing some marketing, if you're communicating, if you're establishing a website. This is a great time for these sorts of things, for being present on social media, etc. It's also a time when you might be releasing some old beliefs, 9th house, letting go of the way you thought the world should be. Definitely happened for me when I had this transit. I thought the world was one way, and I soon had the scales pulled from my eyes as we went through sort of 2020, 2021, 22. It's an excellent time though, my beautiful Capricorn friends, for self-education, for learning from experience, for growing your talents. So really, it's time, dig in. learn, like if you want to do a course, come study with me at the Royal Stars Academy. Do some education that's going to open up your world and enlighten you. This is not about going to university. This is not about going to a mentor or an inspirational figure. It's about doing study on your terms, and that's what the Royal Stars Academy is. It's not about me. It's about you guys learning astrology. I'm just the tool, the instrument that the universe is using to share it with you. And so you study at your own pace. You take as much time as you want. You do the research if you want to. There's no pressure either way. I really just want to recommend the Royal Stars Academy for those Capricornian people who are interested. So it's an excellent time for self-education, as I said. Also growing your talents, writing, speaking, reading. You might be reading more than ever now. Growing your manual skills, anything to do with dexterity, any intellectual enhancement is a great thing to focus on at this time. Be very wary, though, of wasting your money on higher education now, because you may not finish your higher education. South Node in the ninth house. If you probably will finish your higher education if you started your education before the South Node went into Virgo. But if you didn't, if you're starting it now, when the South Node is in Virgo, you may not see it finished because there is this energy of just letting go of this higher education. It may be that there is also wasting of money on long journeys, long trips, going to other cultures. You know, you think you're going to get so much out of going to South America and doing ayahuasca. You go there and it's a complete flop, and you think, well, I spent all this money and all this time, I got nothing out of it. So this is the kind of thing that we might experience, wasting our money on some big long trip. It's also a very strong focus on mental health at this time, because mental health is connected to the third house. For some people, the North Node being in the third house might make your mental resilience stronger and increase your mental resilience. But on occasion, and I have to mention this, sometimes the polar opposite occurs. So be sure to get appropriate help or supports at the first signs of any mental health problems. Okay, so most of us will be fine, but if you notice any wobbliness, do get what the help you need or have some supports in place. Thank you, Capricorn. Moving right along to Sagittarius rising, sun or moon people. The North Node is going to be in your 4th house, Pisces, and the South Node up here in your 10th house, Virgo. So there's going to be an increase now. Wherever the North Node goes is where there's an increase. There's going to be increased focus on family life, children, parenting, perhaps a focus on your parents. If you're older watching this, it might be focus on elderly parents. If you are a parent yourself, focus on how you are parenting your children. There's also potentially, especially with Saturn moving up to the latter degrees here of Pisces, there's potentially a big focus of new beginnings regarding where you live, where you call your home, where you put down your roots. So I'm seeing some really significant powerful changes. I'm excited actually because David's a Sag rising. So I'm seeing perhaps some new beginnings for both he and I based on this transit. I'm like, bring it on, bring it on. There can also be an increased passion for better homes, better properties, things more suited to your lifestyle, and you want to improve things. Remember, mutable energy, but also North Node is hungry for more. So you're hungry for improvement in your home, hungry for improvement in your vehicles as well. So vehicles can be another way this expresses. So it's an excellent transit for obtaining more properties and land, estates, cars, or other items of transportation. Now, the South Node is up in your 10th house of career. So careers can suffer under this transit because South Node is in the house of worldly achievement, and there can also be a releasing of some sort of social status a letting go of some sort of social status. Nothing to be afraid of with that. Maybe, you were, I don't know, secretary of the parents committee at school, and you're like, I've had enough of this. I'm a bit worn out with this leadership role. I'm going to let it go. And so there's a social status of being the secretary of the parents committee gone. Maybe that's a good thing. Releasing of career responsibilities as well. You may have less responsibilities and duties in your career world. For some of us, that can feel like a relief. It all depends, doesn't it, what our career is and where we're at. Focusing on South Node energy and bringing that to your career might actually help at this time if you want to really support your career life. So perhaps doing more psychology. Maybe you encourage everybody in the office to do a Myers-Briggs test. There's a wonderful one online that has wonderful little avatars that I think are so cool. So, bringing more psychology into the workplace, or astrology into the workplace, herbology, hypnosis, naturopathy, any spiritually oriented energy. If you bring it into your career, or if you're doing that for a career, you can have more success because the South Node is associated with those things. Now, I have to say, Sagittarius, that the life of our parents might be significantly affected by this transit over the next 18 months. This is the axis of our parents, as I mentioned. And so do check in with your parents. Keep an eye on your parents. Now, is it your mother or your father that wears the pants in your family? Whichever one does, whichever one kind of rules the roost, so to speak, they might be experiencing some health concerns. They might be experiencing some sort of loss in their life or absence. South Node. This is the 10th house is the house of the parent that wears the pants. Basically, there's some systems that say it's the father. There's some that say it's the mother. I just say it's the one who wears the pants. You know what I mean by that? The one who's in control. They're the one who will be experiencing the South Node loss. Loss of something, absence in some way, health concerns are some of the ways the South Node expresses. The more positive expression of this energy is that the parent could become more spiritual or get more involved with spiritual practices or research, which is South Node energy. And so if you find that the parent that wears the pants is doing that, you'll know it's the South Node working in a positive way in your life. Thank you, Sagittarius. Moving along to Scorpio rising, sun and moon people. Well, the energy of the nodes changing signs will be affecting your 5th house and your 11th house, North Node in the 5th and South Node in the 11th. Okay, so this is quite an interesting one. The 5th house gives us a passion for center stage roles, more fun, more entertainment in our life, children, more romance. 5th house energy increases. Interestingly, this is the transit that my husband David is just concluding, and he certainly has had more romance in his life through being with me, and hopefully more fun as well. We've certainly enjoyed our first 18 months together. Not only that, but the creative opportunities might suddenly flourish for you. And certainly in David's case, he's written a book, done lecture series, he's released courses. I highly recommend them if you're interested in mythology and understanding mythology. Increased charisma, increased fame can also happen with the North Node in the 5th house. I mentioned exciting romantic relationships can come into your life, can blossom now. Old romances can also get a bit of juice, a bit of oomph, which is always wonderful. Now, the South Node up here in the 11th house can mean that you might be letting go of some friendships. That certainly happened to David. You find out when you live through a scandal what who your friends actually really are. So friends can go, friends can leave at this time for one reason or another. It doesn't have to be from a scandal, can be because of any reason whatsoever. You may also be a bit less interested in gain and receiving remuneration, and you become more interested in having fun, in creativity, in self-expression. Blessings can also come from your children now. Children are a fifth house energy. And you might even gain through some sort of performance, acting, sports, the arts. They're fifth house energies as well. This is a time that will enhance matters relating to romance, to children, to your love life. And despite all of this though, you might find that it's harder to be involved with group work, harder to be involved with publicity, harder to be involved with social contribution and worldly gainfulness. And certainly David has found that to be the case. You know, he used to get invited to speak at a lot of conferences all the time. But since moving to Australia, they've dried up. And I keep thinking, is this me? Have I done this to him? Is this my energy? But then I realized, no, it's the nodes. South node here, which is about large groups, large audiences, social contribution. And, it's not that he's in Australia. It's not that he's far away from Europe and America and that sort of thing. No, it's actually a nodal energy. It's just a cycle. And it will shift and it will change. So don't be too distraught by the perhaps contracting size of the publicity, social contribution, gainfulness that might be unfolding. Interestingly, these are areas where you will actually be burning your karma now. So it's about letting go. Wherever the South Node is transiting is where we're burning some karma off. So don't see it as, oh my gosh, it's terrible, my life has imploded. No, see it as, okay, I'll focus on the North Node and allow the South Node to just do its thing and burn through any karmic residue so that it's cleared. So this includes maybe leaving some friendships that were not doing you any good, leaving some social groups and connections that were not enhancing your life. It's about letting go of the old paradigms, South Node. So even companies can be associated with the 11th house. So any company affiliations might, especially company affiliations that were only about benefiting the company, not you, will probably end. That's exactly what happened to David. So, he was working in an industry which was not looking out for him, not looking out for their employees, only about the company and the people who ran the company. And so that came to a conclusion. A healthy conclusion. Thank God it ended, because the fifth house is all about self and the growth of self. The growth of self-love and honoring the self. Now, and following in Pisces, Scorpio energy, we'll have Pisces in the fifth house, following your heart. So it's actually all for the best. The burning of this old 11th house karma so that you move more into true purpose and true meaning that aligns with your heart now. So that's what I'm seeing for our Scorpio rising, sun and moon people. Now Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra moon people. The nodes are changing and moving into Pisces, Virgo, North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, your 6th house and 12th house. This is where the energy is going. When we have the North Node in the 6th house, it gives us a passion for order, for cleaning, for efficiency, for work. So you are the only sign, Libra, where the actual workaholism might increase. For most other people, it may be growing less with the North Node in Pisces. But you know how this works, Libra. The general structure of a chart is reversed for you guys, because we have Aries as the 7th instead of the 1st and Libra as the 1st instead of the 7th. So everything is switched around. So you might be actually becoming more of a workaholic. You might be developing new work routines, new health routines, putting everything in order, cleaning out the old cupboards. And I'm so glad about this. I'm a Libra moon and gosh, it needs to happen in my house. There might even be new opportunities through your work, new opportunities that come your way to pay the bills in a manner that you hadn't even dreamed could be possible. Very good. So I'm seeing positivity in this way for our beautiful Libra friends. They could also be, because of the South Node being in the 12th, letting go of addictions, letting go of self-sabotaging behaviors. It also might mean you have less alone time because you're busier, you're active, and you just have that less private time that maybe you usually have. So it's excellent for employment. It's excellent for job progress. It's excellent for health. And it's a terrific time also for diets and exercise, real estate improvements, fixing up your wardrobe, food production, growing your own food is enhanced here, establishing some really good daily routines. And you might also find, as I just mentioned a moment ago, that you're busier than ever and you don't have time for holidays. You don't maybe have as much time for spiritual practices as you usually would. You don't have time for just chilling out. So do keep that in mind. Try and keep some balance where possible, and maybe schedule. The sixth house is to schedule things. So schedule some downtime, schedule some holiday time, and take it so that you don't burn out. Very important North Node in the sixth house. So you might find, because the South Node is in the 12th house of sleep, you might find that you have difficulty getting appropriate sleep, getting enough rest. So have some strategies at hand to support you with that. Some white noise, some relaxation techniques, whatever it is that works for you. I have a book by the bed, and sometimes when I can't read, I'll put on a little reading light I've got and just read my book until I fall asleep. You might feel more physically and emotionally sensitive as well. Sorry, not physically. I meant to say psychically and emotionally sensitive. So that means tuning into other dimensions, tuning into higher powers, tuning into the spiritual forces at work in the world. Why is that enhanced? Tell you why, because the South Node represents those things as well as the 12th house. So instead of losing the connection to the divine, it's actually built up because of the dual influence here of South Node and 12th house. So you are sensitive to these things, and you might be picking up on all the emotions and vibrations around you. So you might need to practice spiritual cleanliness, spiritual health. Protect your spiritual self by putting appropriate mental protections in place and psychological protections in place. Guard the information you absorb at this time. You don't want mental garbage going in. Watch with, discretion the movies that you are choosing to watch, the books you're choosing to read, the social media you engage with, and where possible, pare back and become more spiritual, focus on the good, the beautiful, the kind, the loving, and fill your mind and your soul with those things, and watch your life flourish because of that at this time. So that's what I'm feeling into for our Libra rising sun and moon people. Now, our Virgo rising sun and moon people, well, my Virgo friends, this is a doozy. South Node is moving into your first house, and the North Node is moving into the 7th house, which for you is Pisces. So what this can bring you, because the North Node is in the house of relationships, it can tend to bring in exciting new relationships with lots of unusual, fascinating, even foreign partners, because the North Node of the moon is sometimes connected to foreign people. So opportunities for more success through partnering with others, through collaborating, through contracts, through getting a business partner can happen for you over the next 18 months. What is happening with the South Node, generally speaking, in your first house is a loss of personal ego, loss of self and self-identification as you focus on making connections, making, bonds that can serve you well. So work with the energy and you'll come out of this quite well. Now, let's talk a little bit more about what's going on. You might feel physically depleted and tired for the next 18 months because this is an energy that's lessening the influence of energy on the body, on the house of vitality. So you need to rest more. You need to allow yourself to feel down. Don't fight these feelings. Instead, seek to support your body. And I'd encourage you, you're probably good at this already anyway, my Virgo friends, get involved in breath work, good nutrition, vibrational medicine, adequate rest, lots of relaxation, and allow yourself to sleep when you feel that you need it. Avoid crowds, avoid large, loud, sort of hectic places. all through this transit for the next 18 months, and that will help you maintain your personal balance and give you some support there. Now, you might also find, because the South Node is a very spiritual point, you might find that you're spiritually sensitized, and you might develop a keen interest in spiritual work as well because of this transit. The South Node is associated with astrology too in the Vedic system, so you might like to come and study astrology with me at the Royal Stars Academy if you've ever been inclined to do that. Back to the North Node in the 7th house, partnerships can bring positive and strengthening energy into your life now. That's where the vitality goes. So if you are married already, or if you're in some sort of a partnership, if you're in a business partnership, you might find that your business partner or your marriage partner is supporting you now, giving you the energy now, giving you the vitality and the mojo that you need for your life. It's also a good transit for acquiring more clients. It's a great transit for connecting with advisors and consultants and obtaining some wise advice. Excuse me. It's also a good time to meet a potential partner if you're single. This energy is positive for that. You might also see your partner, if you're partnered, beginning to materially flourish now. Things go well for them, things come their way, things come into their life easier now. It might be a job or a pay rise, or it could be acquisitions of other things, assets or something, but things come into their life more readily. Do be careful though, Virgo, of physically draining your partner by depending too much on them now. Try to keep your autonomy and try to keep your own independence where you can and how you can. But your partner may need to support you a little more than usual. Also, Virgo, it's so important to cultivate a positive state of mind when the South Node is transiting the 1st house. Okay, and you could end up going down the rabbit hole on occasions with sadness or depression or that sort of thing. Loss of buoyancy is South Node in the 1st house, so be conscious and aware of that for the next 18 months, so you know where it's coming from, and when it happens and hits you, you can be kind to yourself. You can tell your partner, it's okay, it's a cycle, it's going to pass, but I'm just down at the moment and I need to let that be. Okay. Also, your musical and psychic gifts can be enhanced during this transit, but it's really not a time to seek any leadership positions or places of authority or trying to increase your responsibilities. Rather, the opposite is true. Take time to just rest. Okay? That's what I'm seeing for our beautiful Virgo rising, sun and moon people. Now for our Leo rising, sun and moon people. The energy of the South Node is moving from Aries into your, into Pisces, which is your 8th house. And the energy of the South Node is moving into your 2nd house, Virgo. So this is a financial axis. And let's talk about the axis of self-made wealth and wealth belonging to others. Your earning powers, Leo, I hate to say it, might be a little bit reduced during this transit. The South Node in the house of your resources can sometimes see your resources diminish and lessen. So having a rainy day bank account, a good idea. It's kind of a last minute rainy day bank account here, but it is a wise thing to do if you can sort of put some money aside now. You may actually, Leo, and this can be hard for Leo people to do because there's ego involved with this, but you may need to lean on others at this time. Other people is where the energy goes. Here we are with the North Node in 8th house of other people. So you might need to lean on others for support and help, but they're going to be more than willing to help, more than available to you, totally there for you at this time. Now, this could look like getting a loan, getting some sort of inheritance, a windfall from a house sale or a legal settlement, or the support of your partner's income. So don't necessarily see it as a bad thing, just see it as a cycle. This is just a way of actually burning karma, because wherever the South Node transits is where we need to sort out some karmic influences and release them and let them go. So it's about learning to lean on others and allow others to support you now, Leo. Other things that might be happening here is that there can be a sudden rise of finances for your partner. You know, your partner might, because of the North Node here in the 8th house, your partner might suddenly be earning more money. They might have more resources to live off, you know. Your partner might also, like be more gainful in some way, but that there can also be benefits, as I already mentioned, from taxes, insurances, as well as inheritances. There can also be, for you, Leo, some sudden healings, emotional healings, physical healings that can happen as well. This is a house of healing. So don't think that it's all going to be about, you know, more crisis in your life, Leo. This is a house of healing, and the North Node can be very beneficial for healing in this case. There can also be an increase in your passion for secrets, understanding secrets and hidden meanings, symbology, getting to the depth of things, getting to the bottom and understanding the truth behind the matter. This can be increased. I'm a Leo sun. I'm like, my gosh, is there more truth to uncover? Feel like I've been on a mission with that for the last 4 years, and now about to experience so much more. Occult or private information. So it's great for studying astrology. Oh my gosh, so good for really doing some deep research into astrology. Bring it. I can't wait. Sometimes too, it might indicate having a secret relationship or an affair. So forewarned, forearmed, be careful about that one. Truly, guys, it's better to get out of one relationship and then establish a new one than to be having to at the not a good idea. Not a good idea. I know sometimes we can't help the way things unfold for us. It sometimes feels like it's beyond our power, even. But really, for your own sanity, believe me, trust me, from my own long life experience, just better to sort of break and start a new one than to be caught in an affair. But this is an energy that can cause those things to happen for some of us, not all of us. Some of us might be experiencing that. So yes, we've talked about leaning on other people, and we've talked about inheritances. We've talked about earning powers being reduced, but also it's an important time to prioritize your diet. You may be very tempted not to do so, because this house, the second house, has to do with what you eat or don't eat. And you might be tempted to have more sweet foods, more indulgent foods and that sort of thing. But make sure, Leo, that you prioritize healthy eating. Vitality increasing food is essential under this transit to maintain your health. Not just vitality increasing food, but food that carries large amounts of serotonin, so lots of proteins, are good to maintain health at this time. It's also a time when you should visit the dentist. South Node, dentist, and looking after things to do with your face, teeth, eyes, ears, all that sort of stuff. The five senses, and anything to do with the five senses are under more pressure with the South Node here. So visit the eye doctor, visit the dentist, visit the hearing specialist, get your hearing checked. Also get your thyroid checked. If you're at all doubtful that something's, if you're thinking something's not right, do get those things checked out while the South Node transits this realm of the chart. With the North Node in the 8th house, you can expect big transformational experiences to happen in your life. Not necessarily crisis experiences. I just want to steer away from that being a scaremongering point. It's not necessarily the case. But transformational experiences, yes. And for many of you Leo people, in some capacity, your life might turn around completely, 180 degrees. Maybe you have been living, hand to mouth, thinking, I'm going to be on the streets tomorrow. In goes the North Node into the 8th house, and everything changes. You receive a windfall, you receive an inheritance or something like that, and you can afford to pay off that mortgage. You're not going to be out on the street. Complete 180 degree. That's an example. That's not going to be how it's going to play out for everybody, but some people might have that happen. Big life changes. So I'm excited for many Leo people, and I'd love you to email me with your stories if you want to share them about what happens to you over the next 18 months regarding this energy. Thank you, lovely Leos. And now time for our gorgeous Cancer rising, sun and moon people. Well, my friends, the energy of the North Node moving into Pisces and the South Node moving into Virgo is happening here on your 3rd house, 9th house axis. So what does this mean? It means you're going to get more educational opportunities over the next 18 months. It means you might have a passion for worldly travel and the ability to make it happen. You might be seeing the world now, seeing exotic places, places you never dreamed you'd go to. There can be new or even quite foreign beliefs that come to you now that you're exposed to. You might develop a new outlook on the world, new ethics, new morals, new principles, new insights into how the world works. Very exciting. North Node up here in the 9th house. Many of you are going to make some very exciting foreign connections now. So that could be meeting people from foreign countries who completely change your life, meeting mentors, meeting inspirational figures. Lots of change coming from people from far away from you, from other cultures than you, in other places than you. You'll have less interest, South Node, in mundane affairs, in localized affairs, less interest in the shared economy. Also, you might find that you become more forgetful. The 3rd house is the house of the mind. And when the South Node is here, we are sort of releasing. So the usual activities of the mind, which is to remember and organize and plan, are lost. So you might become more forgetful, might lose the ability to organize, might lose the ability to plan your daily life. And you're like, why can't I get it together? So make sure that you have mechanisms to assist you. Calendars everywhere, timers on your phone, all that sort of stuff that you need so that you can push through this 18-month period. Writing and communication can also come somewhat undone, but don't worry about this. If you usually write books or journal articles and that sort of thing, and then suddenly it all dries up and you just have no enthusiasm for that, just allow it to be. It's an 18-month period. Once this is over, you'll get back into it. It'll be fine. Just allow yourself to focus on the North Node energy, which is learning and learning about other cultures and places and beliefs and ideas that are beyond you. Embrace that now, because that's where it's at. You can also find that your mental life requires extra focus and attention to manage. You can discover a lot of faults with paperwork, email, social media. So you need to ensure that all important documents and data are well backed up for the next 18 months. You might require greater mental energy also while driving or following maps. You have to concentrate. You can't just tune out and then get there and think, how did I get here? No, you're going to have to focus a lot more. So it's important to have strategies to combat negative thinking, anxiety, or depression at this time. And mental rest and mental time out is important. Take time just to chill, to sit by the ocean and be alone with your thoughts. Strengthen your nervous system as well through relaxation techniques and breath work. Very, very important right now. But positive energy, North Node energy, is flowing to the realm of higher education, as I said. So some of you might want to come and study some level of higher knowledge. So it could be medicine, law, could come and study astrology with me at the Royal Stars Academy. Faith is increased, or interest in religious beliefs can be increased, and connection to the divine as well through prayer. Long distance travels tend to flourish now, as I said. Publishing can go well. So it's harder to write the book, but it's easier to get a book you've already written published at this time. Publishing is a 9th house things. So they're going to be enhanced for the next 18 months. So teaching your wisdom, being a mentor, being a source of inspiration to others increases with this transit. So that's something to enjoy. If you've ever been attracted to being like the next Deepak Chopra or some sort of a spiritual guru, this is the time when that might actually flourish for you. It's an excellent time as I said, to undertake some study of higher-minded topics too. Philosophy, I forgot to mention, philosophy is a big one for the ninth house. And also for developing any international relations. So you might be getting involved in some sort of international import-export kind of businesses, and that sort of thing can really go well, as can sort of travel industry jobs or, tour leading and that sort of thing. So very exciting for our Cancer rising sun and moon friends. Thank you, Cancer. Now, Gemini rising, Gemini sun, Gemini moon people. Well, the nodes are changing signs into a similarly mutable sign to your own. And that means it's on an angle. So we've got Virgo, 4th house, south node is there, and the north node is moving into the 10th house. This is quite an interesting axis. It's going to give you North Node passion and opportunities in career over the next 18 months. So you can see your career flourish. Social status might rise. Leadership and public roles might grow and increase. You might have, though, less interest in family matters, private matters, parenting. You might be saying goodbye to some home or place of living that's you've been in for a while as you go somewhere else. Doesn't mean you're going to be homeless, but you might be releasing and letting go of a home space. So it's an excellent time, Gemini, for career growth, for opportunities, for promotions, leadership roles. As I said, your reputation can actually get a boost as well too. So a lot of you might even have your 15 minutes of fame as a result of this transit, getting that recognition, getting that celebrity status, getting that level of fame. It is not helpful, as I said, for home and property. So I would suggest very strongly, because this is what I've got natally, this placement in my chart. Oh my gosh, I just have to tell you, I did not know about this when I bought my house. I did not know about having what it means to have the south node in your 4th house. But the south node in the 4th house is an indicator for leaks, rats and vermin, pests like termites and ants, mold, and other causes of serious health problems. That's true in the natal chart, and it can crop up when the south node moves through the 4th house by transit. I bought my house, the one that you see around me, before I realized this and had studied and learned about this. And I even paid for somebody to check for white ants, which that's what we call them in Australia, termites. I got a termite check done before I bought this house. I was very concerned because termites are a big issue in Australia. And I bought the house, I moved in, and I pulled a curtain aside, and there was a whole frame of a window eaten away by termites. I'm like, did this termite inspector even look at anything? Did he even go to my house? I have to tell you, I have this trouble a bit actually. I have Mars in the 6th house, which means I do have to go to court to battle things out sometimes. But because when you've got a malefic house in a malefic planet in a malefic house, you mostly win. So I went to court and was like, dude, the place was riddled with white ants, and you checked and said it was clear. So that was sorted out. I got that sorted out, and then I had to pay to get the white ants removed. But not fun. So I tell that story because I have that natally, and anyone else has got this access natally. Double check any houses that you buy for mold, ants, pests, vermin, leaks, all that stuff. Fortunately, I did a little spell casting ceremony after I'd had everything repaired and got rid of the white ants and what have you, to keep them at bay. That is still holding strong. Touch wood, to this day. Thank you for letting me tell a story. I do like telling a story, Gemini. But having said that, do double check if you are at all concerned. If you hear a scratching in the roof, if you notice that some wood is a bit soggy and soft or whatever, go and get a specialist in to assess the situation right away. The next 18 months, be extra vigilant about those sorts of things with your home and your property. Now, also, I have to tell you, Gemini, that elderly parents might need your support and assistance. And this is especially true around the eclipses that that will occur with this nodal cycle coming up this year. Make sure that you check in on your parents regularly, that they're doing okay, because this is the house of parenting, and your parents, generally speaking, with the South Node here, it indicates a letting go, a loss, an absence, moving away, that kind of thing. Relationships with father figures or the parent that wears the pants, 10th house energy, might intensify, grow, and expand in your life, while the more placid parent, fourth house here, might be, or the sort of parent who doesn't wear the pants, there might be some sort of increased detachment from that person or some type of loss. So there's some things to keep in mind for our Gemini friends as you go through this transit. All right. Thank you, Gemini. Taurus rising, Taurus sun, Taurus moon people. Well, my friends, the energy of the North and South Node changing signs is going to be affecting your 5th house, 11th house axis. And the South Node is going to be in the 5th. The North Node is going to be in the 11th house. So this is going to give you an opportunity with the North Node in the 11th house to make some new and exciting friendships, to increase your social circles, to join new groups, to create some daring new goals for your life, and really to create more profit as well. This is a house of profit and gainfulness. So you will be successful with all of these things. What a bonus. How wonderful. That said, you might have less time for fun and passion and creativity, because that's what the 5th house is all about. There's also potentially the release of some unhealthy romantic situation that might be occurring in your life as well, letting go of that. But it's a really good transit for achieving profitable goals, for doing collective group work. You know, you might be invited to come and speak to, a retreat center, group of people or something like that. Collective work, as I said, social contribution through large gatherings. We got together in April 2023 in Utah with a group of like-minded people. I think there's about 30, 40 of us doing breath work and learning about the stars, and it was magnificent. Utah was gorgeous. That's the kind of thing. You might be doing some sort of contribution to an event like that. It's a really good transit, North Node in the 11th house, for growing a company, for any idealistic projects, for your own mental creativity that serves a purpose, that is useful to the world. Not just creating for the sake of you being creative, but creating with a means to an end, like a mechanism to make something that does humanity the world of good. So go for it, Taurus people. You have a lot of responsibility on your hand with this transit. Do something that's good for humanity. This transit doesn't support having children. If you've been wanting to get pregnant or have children, this is a challenging time to be looking at that. Now, you may have other things in your personal chart that indicate it's a terrific time to have children and to get pregnant. So, remember, your individual chart is more important than the general overview I'm giving here. However, many of us will not be able to get pregnant if that's our desire, because the South Node means loss of 5th house energy. It can also mean a falling out with a child, or an absence of a child, or distance from a child can happen as well. It can mean finding love. It can mean difficulty finding love, because this is the house of romance and falling in love. So yes, less time for romance. Unless it's with an incredibly South Node type of person, somebody who's spiritual, somebody who maybe is an astrologer, somebody who is very focused on, the spiritual side of life, as I said. Less time for artistic expression, and I've got to say it, Taurus, less lucky breaks with this energy. So yes, you can be gainful, very practically gainful, which you're good at, but the lucky sort of opportunities in life, they're not there as much. Opportunities really come through your ability to get out there and meet people, network, connect, be involved in groups, but sort of lucky, just out of the blue opportunities are lessened now. So check in regularly with your children and be very conscious about their well-being during this transit. South Node in the 5th house can indicate by transit, not by natal position, but by transit, can cause you to forget or neglect your children or your lovers. You just forget them. It's not that you don't love them, don't care about them. You just have busy with other things. So make a point to schedule time for your children, for your lover. Make sure that you connect regularly with them. Otherwise, there is this energy of loss that might be present. Thank you, Taurus. And finally, lovely Aries rising, sun or moon people, we get to you at long last. The energy of the North and South Node is leaving your first house, seventh house axis. Thank God, I'm hearing you all say, and moving more into, moving now into your 12th house, sixth house axis. So you are going to have, after 18 months of focusing on the self, you are going to really start focusing on your spiritual life, Aries. North Node in the 12th house. You might even have an opportunity to travel far away for a rest, for a retreat, for a spiritual purpose. You might have an increased opportunity for sort of behind the scenes activities, secret dealings, secret liaisons, more time alone, more time for holidays. You might also be letting go of old habits and old routines and old work responsibilities that no longer serve you now. So it's an excellent time for spiritual work, psychological work. Buy those spiritual books, do that astrology course, jump into the Myers-Briggs self-analysis, take a holiday, take a rest, take a retreat, develop your psychic skills. You can make wonderful progress in your spiritual life during this transit of the North Node in the 12th house. But do watch out for physical health sensitivity and physical fatigue with the South Node in the 6th. You might be really lacking vitality now. And that's a real change after having had the North Node in the 1st house, which brings vitality. Suddenly the health can take a completely different turn. You might also lack adequate financial remuneration for your work during this transit, because the South Node is in the house of work and what we do to pay the bills. So there might even be an expectation from people that you'll work pro bono. You'll just give, of your time and energy freely. That can be very toxic. You might find that your work environment is quite toxic or unhealthy or just plain draining. In some cases, some Aries people might experience a period of unemployment. Forewarned, forearmed, my friends. I have to talk about all the ways and eventualities that this looks like. And look, when I went through this transit, I actually lost a job, and I had 3 children to support. I was depending on a job for an income. But what did it do? I've told this story so many times here on this channel, but it pushed me into having an astrology business as my main source of income and service to the world. What is the South Node all about? South Node is connected to astrology and other spiritual work. So some of you might find that the universe is pushing you out of mainstream work and into something more associated with the South Node, some sort of spiritual work. So keep that in mind if you go through a toxic workplace or you experience unemployment or any of those things. There might be purpose in what the universe is doing to take you further into your destiny. Now, if you are an employer, you might find that your employees are costing you in some way during this transit over the next 18 months. And to counteract this negative effect of the South Node in the 6th house, you have to focus on the North Node. Take regular time out to rest, go on spiritual retreats, take holidays, develop a meditation or similar spiritual practice that you can engage with on a regular basis. You've got to do 12th house stuff in order to avoid the negative energy of the South Node in the 6th. So David and I are planning on running some spiritual and astrology and star-based retreats over the coming 18 months. We'd love you to join us, and I would dare say, my beautiful Aries friends, it's almost an imperative that you do, so that you can be directing your energy into these much healthier expressions. You don't have to join David and I. If you would like to join any other spiritual retreat or workshop or that sort of thing over the coming 18 months, that's also encouraged. My friends, it has been wonderful to share this new beginning, the first new beginning I will just add, of 2025. There's so many changes coming this year. I talked about that in last week's video. It is an apocryphal year, and this is the first step in that process. I hope it goes well for you. We'll see you out the other side.